All right. Hi, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to your first asynchronous day of seventh grade. Um, this year, when we have these asynchronous days, you're not going to have a Zoom. Instead, you're going to use this video as the starting point to your workday for social studies. So, here I will be going over your independent tasks for the day. On Friday of last week, we started talking about one of my personal heroes, John Lewis. John Lewis is pictured to the right here. And he was a very important leader during the civil rights movement, as well as going on to become an essential representative in the House of Representatives in Congress. And unfortunately, he did pass away this past summer. But we are going to celebrate him here by reading one of his stories. And so, what I want to do is connect the conversation we started having on Friday with his story called Walking with the Wind. Here is our plan. First things first, you're going to watch this video. Hey, you're already doing that. That's amazing. Well done. Good start to your morning. Number 2, you're going to read the story Walking with the Wind by John Lewis. It's in last Friday's folder, or it's already in your Notability file because we started watching the video as an introduction. During that read, you are going to complete an activity called the Quick Draw, and you are going to complete the response questions that are at the end. There are 3 of them. Once you've done those things, you're going to submit the assignment to Schoology so that I can see your progress. And then the last thing you're going to do today is a Walking with the Wind post-it activity that is going to be found right below this video and agenda on Schoology, and you guys will be completing it via Google Slides. Okay, so a little bit more about today. On Friday, we watched this video about John Lewis, and it was remembering Representative John Lewis in his own words. And there were 3 questions you were to answer. Where was he from? And how did this influence his perspective on the world? Lewis participated in the Freedom Riders movement. What was this? What happened? And is Lewis a pessimist or an optimist? I'm going to look over your responses to these once you submit the whole assignment, but I want you to remember where we started. He is somebody who's been through a lot of trials and tribulations in his life, yet he is immensely optimistic. And that's incredibly important to remember going into this story. So the story itself is called Walking with the Wind, and I'm going to start today by giving you an introduction. So as if we were in class, I would start you off with the reading, and then I'd probably send you on your way to continue independently. So it starts by saying, the readings in this chapter and throughout this book encourage us to think about our own choices as individuals, as members of a community, and as participants in a democracy. While that participation may take many forms, one thing is constant. In an imperfect world marked by suffering and injustice, there will always be occasions to act. As a young student, John Lewis worked with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and became a key leader of the civil rights movement in the United States. He later became a U.S. congressman and a prominent voice for human rights and justice around the world. In the prologue to his memoir, Lewis tells a story from his childhood to describe his vision of how he can face profound challenges and make a better world. So this is the story we're going to read. I'm going to start the introduction and then I'm going to send you on your way. So if you'd like to pause this video, go and grab the activity and follow along. That would be great. About 15 of us children were outside my Aunt Seneva's house playing in her dirt yard. The sky began clouding over, the wind started picking up, lightning flashed far off in the distance, and suddenly I wasn't thinking about playing anymore. I was terrified. Aunt Seneva was the only adult around, and as the sky blackened and the wind grew stronger, she herded us all inside. Her house was not the biggest place around, and it seemed even smaller with so many children squeezed inside. Small and surprisingly quiet. All of the shouting and laughter that had been going on earlier outside had stopped. The wind was howling now, and the house was starting to shake. We were scared. Even Aunt Seneva was scared. And then it got worse. Now the house was beginning to sway. The wood plank flooring beneath us began to bend. And then a corner of the room started lifting up. So at this point, you're going to pause and complete the quick draw activity. Last thing, you're going to continue reading the story independently on your own. It's a short story here. Once you are done reading the story, you are going to answer these 3 response questions. Once you have answered all 3 questions, be sure to submit the assignment. That is all you need to know for the first chunk of today, but there's one more task you have to complete. It's the post-it activity. And this is what it is going to look like on your end. Now, the assignment itself, you will be able to open in Schoology. And once you're there, your job is to answer this question. How can the lessons found in Walking with the Wind be applied to 3 different places in our lives? Number 1, our classroom. Number 2, maybe our friends and our family and our more personal interactions with people. And then number 3, the community. In general, how can these lessons be applied to the greater community? This could be our local Wilmette community. It could be our Chicago area community. It could be our Illinoisan community. It could be the country. It could be the world. I want you to list 3 specific examples with explanations, so 2 complete sentences in each of these boxes. Once you get into the activity, it's going to have your name up here in the title. You're going to click that. You'll open the activity itself, and then you'll see where it says click to add subtitle. Once you click these spaces here, you'll be able to type whatever you want your response to be. If you have any questions about the assignment working, please let me know. You are going to need to log into Google most likely. If you haven't done that this year, it may ask you to type in your login information. Just type in your email and your password as you normally would. All right, let's have a great day, ladies and gentlemen. The agenda has been posted on Schoology as well as these activities, and I will see all of you in a few days.